Imagine a scenario wherein you're reading an editorial line about a recent issue and the author presents an argument. However, not everything they say is straightforward. Some claims are clear, while others are between the lines. But don't worry. In this video lesson, you will get to identify implicit and explicit claims together with other topics as well. Good day. My name is Jam, and I am beyond excited to bring you today's lesson. So set your mind, ready your hearts, and brace yourself as we embark on an incredible journey of learning and reading and writing. Our lessons aligns with the most essential learning competencies. By the end of this discussion, you should be able to: number 1, identify explicit and implicit claims in a written text. Number 2, recognize the 3 types of claims: claim of fact, claim of policy, and claim of value. Additionally, we will explore how to determine the context in which a text was developed, particularly through hypertext and intertext. Lastly, we will discuss critical reading as a form of reasoning, which will help you analyze arguments more effectively. So let's begin with identifying explicit and implicit claims in a written text. But first, I want you to watch these 2 videos and try to observe their differences.
I cannot stop thinking of you. From the mornings you ease, to the evenings you quiet, to the dreams you inhabit. My thoughts of you never end. I am yours, Daphne. I have always been yours.
I do not understand.
I guess we're just gonna have to wait and see.
I'm always gonna love you.
I'm always gonna love you too. Look at this view.
Have you observed it? That's right. Both videos are trying to convey the same feelings. However, one expresses it directly, while other takes a roundabout way of expressing its feelings. The word explicit comes from the Latin explicitus, meaning obvious and apparent, or directly stated. This means that an explicit claim is a statement that is clear, precise, and leaves no room for interpretation. Some advantages of implicit claims include clarity towards the readers. However, because of its straightforwardness, it may become less emotional and less engaging to the readers. So, let's look at this example. The formation drill will be held 5 p.m. in the first campus of CCNHS. This statement is explicit because it provides specific and clear information about the meeting time and location rather than it being ambiguous. The word implicit comes from the Latin implicitus, meaning not clearly expressed or only suggested. An implicit claim is a statement that conveys meaning indirectly, relying on context and interpretation rather than direct expression. Unlike explicit claims, which are clear and precise, implicit claims leave room for different understanding and can be more persuasive by engaging the audience's emotion or assumptions. However, it may also come off as confusing to some readers without proper context. Now, let's look at this example. She glanced at her watch and sighed, gathering her thighs. This sentence is implicit because it suggests that the woman is in a hurry or that it's time to leave without directly stating it. The meaning is implied through her actions, glancing at her watch and sighing, rather than being explicitly stated. Before we explore the 3 types of claims, let us first define what a claim is. A claim is a statement that expresses the main idea or argument in a discussion. It is the position that a writer or speaker seeks to prove. Unlike a question, a claim makes a clear assertion. For example, instead of asking, should students have a shorter school day? A claim would state, shorter school days improve students' productivity and well-being. This statement takes a position that can be supported with evidence. A claim also challenges the status quo, meaning it questions existing beliefs or practices. For instance, if many believe that online learning is ineffective, a claim could argue. Online learning can be just effective as face-to-face classes when proper strategies are implemented. Now let's discuss what makes a good claim. Characteristics of a good claim. Number 1. Argumentative and debatable. A strong claim presents a viewpoint that can be supported or challenged. If there is no room for debate, it is merely a statement of fact rather than a claim. Specific and focused. A good claim is clear and precise. Vague claims are difficult to support with evidence, so it is essential to be direct, interesting, and engaging. A compelling claim captures attention and encourages discussion. If a claim is too obvious or uncontroversial, people may not feel the need to engage with it. Logical and evidence-based. A strong claim is grounded in reason and supported by facts, not just personal opinions or emotions. Now that we understand what makes a strong claim, let's explore the three main types of claims. Number 1, claim of fact. Number 2, claim of value. Number 3, claim of policy. A claim of fact asserts that something is true or false and can be verified through evidence. It can refer to the past, present, or future and is based on measurable data. For example, Yang Jong-un was born on February 9, 2004 in South Korea. This statement is a claim of fact because it can be confirmed through official records. To effectively defend a claim of fact, Number 1, clearly state your position. Define any controversial or ambiguous terms. Support your claim with accurate and reliable evidence. Present a strong conclusion to reinforce your argument. A claim of value evaluates the worth, morality, or significance of something based on personal or societal standards. Unlike a claim of fact, which is objective, a claim of value is subjective and often based on personal opinions. Example, Cold Spring is a summer vacation destination than Boracay. This statement is a claim of value because it expresses judgment that may differ based on individual preferences. To effectively defend a claim of value, clearly explain the criteria used to assess the subject, provide logical reasoning and examples to support your viewpoint, acknowledge opposing perspectives, and justify why your position is more valid. A claim of policy advocates for a change in rules, behavior, or procedures. It often addresses problems and proposes solutions to improve a situation. Example, to effectively defend the claim of policy, you need to follow the IPO. I is to identify a clear problem that needs to be addressed. P provides strong evidence to support why the change is necessary. O offer a practical and feasible solution. Understanding these types of claims allows us to analyze arguments effectively, whether in editorials, debates, or everyday discussions. By distinguishing claims of fact, value, and policy, we can think critically and form well-supported opinions. And that concludes our discussion for topic 1.
Now moving on to our second topic, which is all about understanding hypertext and intertext. Before we proceed to our topic, let us read the lesson objectives. By the end of this lesson, students will be able to understand the concept of hypertext and intertextuality, obtain information in a customized manner through hypertext, determine the key elements of intertextuality, differentiate intertext from other types of text development, and identify hypertext and intertext as methods of text development. Now, moving on into the characteristics. First is nonlinear reading. Readers can jump between different sections instead of following a strict sequence. Readers can navigate through content freely, skipping irrelevant sections or diving deeper into topics of interest. This flexibility allows for personalized learning and exploration, making it easier to grasp information at one's own pace. Second is hyperlinks. Words, phrases, or images serve as links to more information. These clickable elements, often highlighted in a different color or underlined, allows users to move instantly to related content, definitions, or external sources. Hyperlinks can create an interconnected web of knowledge, making information retrieval more efficient and interactive. The next is dynamic structure. Texts are connected through digital links. Unlike static printed text, hypertext has the dynamic structure, meaning it can continuously expand and evolve through digital connections. This structure allows users to explore various perspectives and dive deeper into subjects without limitations. And lastly, hypermedia. Some hypertexts also contain videos, images, or audio, making the reading experience interactive. This makes the reading experience more engaging and accessible, especially for visual and auditory learners. By integrating different media formats, hypermedia enhances comprehension and retention, making complex ideas easier to understand. Now, what is hypertext? Hypertext is a nonlinear way of presenting text that includes clickable links to other texts, images, videos, or multimedia elements. It allows users to navigate and access related information interactively. And so in short, instead of reading the text in its linear order, a reader can click on certain phrases or words to be taken directly to relevant sections or further details. Now, looking at the picture here, Wikipedia is a prime example of hypertext because it uses interlinked pages that allow nonlinear navigation. Articles contain internal links to related topics, external links to references, and are continuously updated by users. This interconnected structure enables easy exploration and information. Now, let's move on to the importance. First, it enhances comprehension. Readers can explore more information easily by linking to definitions, related articles, or background information. Readers can deepen their understanding without needing to search elsewhere manually. Secondly, it encourages independent learning. Users can choose their reading parts. This empowers learners to focus on topics that interest them the most, promoting self-directed education and engagement. The next one is improves research efficiency. Quick access to related topics. With hypertext, researchers and students can swiftly navigate through interconnected topics without wasting time searching for information. By following relevant links, they can gather comprehensive data efficiently, making the research process smoother and more productive. And the last, promotes multimedia learning. Integrates text, images, and videos. This multi-sensory approach caters to different learning styles, making the information more engaging and easier to retain.
Intertext or intertextuality refers to the relationship between different texts. A text may quote, imitate, or reference and adapt elements from another text, whether intentional or unintentional. There are two characteristics or major characteristics of intertext. First is intertexts have influence from previous texts. Writers use ideas, themes, and phrases from other works. Second is that these could be direct or indirect connections, which means some text may explicitly mention another text or work while others simply incorporate them through the themes. There are four types of intertext. First is quotations, which is directly lifting words from another text. Second is allusions, which is indirectly referring to another text or event. Third is retelling, which is rewriting an existing story in a new context. Fourth is pastiche, which is imitating another work's style without mockery, which is unlike parody. There are four types of intertext. First is quotations, which is directly lifting words from another text. Second is allusions, which is indirectly referring to another text or event. Third is retelling, which is rewriting an existing story in a new context. Fourth is pastiche, which is imitating another work's style without mockery, which is unlike parody.
Hypertext is the ability to click to a link and access information about specific text or topic through another device, while intertext is the textual relationship in which one written work has linked or mentions to another work to enhance its meaning. And their similarities are, both are crucial in grasping how the different texts are constructed and the meaning that is created in today's communication.
As we're done with our second topic, I want to ask you, why is it important to be a critical reader? Is it all about reading any books so that we can call you as a critical reader? Our next topic is a review of what critical reading as form of reasoning. Have you ever seen this kind of text? If yes, do you quickly believe that you won on something? The way you read this kind of text is also the way in how good you are in evaluating whether this text is true or not. As a reader, you are not an active participant, but you are an active constructor of meaning, which means that you create an understanding, interpretation from the text that you read. Now let's differentiate reading and critical reading. According to Anderson, reading is the process in which the information from the text and knowledge possessed by the reader get together to produce meaning. So simply put, reading is meaning making. You extract information from the text, you combine it to your prior knowledge, and then you create your own meaning. There are different types of reading: scanning, skimming, inverted reading, and our topic for this session, critical reading. To define, critical reading is an academic skills. It is a careful, thoughtful, and active reading strategy. This is not a plain reading. Here you go deeper and evaluate what you read. Look at this comparison. The purpose of reading is to get a basic grasp from the text, while critical reading is to form judgment about how a text works. Reading is absorbing and understanding, while critical reading is analyzing, interpreting, and evaluating. The focus of reading is what the text says, while critical reading, what the text does and means. Questions for reading is what the text saying, what information can I get out of it? While critical reading is how does the text works, how is it argued, what are the choices made, the patterns that result, what kind of reasoning evidence are used, what are the underlying assumptions, what does the text means. Direction for reading is with the text, which means that the reader is just agreeing from the text that she or he should read. While critical reading is against the text. Here, you question their assumption and argument, and interpreting meaning and context. Response for reading is just statement and summary, while critical reading, description, interpretation, and evaluation. Let's try to look at this example. After reading the story, you might ask WTH question: what, when, where, why, how? But not all readers agree that ghosts exist. That's the time that you might also ask what evidence they have to support that ghost is real. That's the time also that you cite points. Now, you are not just finding facts, but also evaluating, judging the validity of fact. That's one of the examples of critical reading. You analyze, evaluate, you ask for evidence, knowing what's the purpose of the author. So basically, critical reading is when you carefully read and think about a text. You don't just accept what it says, but instead you ask questions, look for biases, and decide if the information is true and important. This helps you understand the text better and make your own informed decisions.
So now, I am going to discuss to you the 7 strategies of critical thinking. First, previewing. Previewing means looking or taking a quick look at a text before we actually begin reading it in order to become more familiar of its content before we actually begin reading it. This strategy means before we read, we should familiarize first the text so that we can be more familiar of it before we read it. Second, contextualizing. It is the process of placing a text within its historical, cultural, or intellectual context. This means when you read a text, you read it through the lens of your own experience. Third, questioning to understand and remember. It is actively asking yourself a question about the text you are reading while you read. To deeply engage with the material, analyze its meaning, and improve your comprehension and retention of the information. This strategy means that we need to question about the content of the text, and each question should focus on main ideas and it should express in your own words. Fourth, reflecting on challenges to your beliefs and values. It is actively considering how a text you are reading might question your own personal opinions and viewpoints, prompting you to examine the reason behind your beliefs and potentially adjust them based on new information presented in the text. This strategy means to examine our personal response. Fifth, outlining and summarizing. This technique can help you understand the core arguments and structure of a piece of writing by identifying the main ideas and the relationships within the text. This strategy should identify the main ideas of the text and restate it with your own words. Sixth, evaluating an argument. This strategy carefully assessing the quality of a presented claim by analyzing its supporting evidence, logical reasoning, and potential flaws to determine whether the conclusion reached is convincing and well supported. This strategy assesses the quality of a claim by analyzing its evidence, logic, and flaws to determine if its conclusion is convincing and well supported. And lastly, comparing and contrasting. This strategy examines 2 or more places of information, ideas, or text to identify their similarities and differences. This strategy compares and contrasts information from 2 or more sources. And that's the end of the 7 strategies of critical thinking.
As for the final lesson on the 3rd topic, we will be exploring guide questions that help you dissect a text layer by layer, from identifying the source to forming your own evaluation. Remember, these steps are interconnected. Each build upon the previous one. First is considering the source. Who wrote this? Where was this writing published? And what do I know about these sources? These guide questions help in understanding the author's background, expertise, and potential biases. These help you assess the credibility and potential limitations of the information presented. Next is recognizing what is said. You may ask yourself, what is the author's main purpose? What is he basically trying to prove? And has the writer really said what I think they said? Well, this seems simple, but it's crucial. We need to accurately identify the main points and supporting details, since misinterpreting the surface-level meaning will lead to flawed conclusions. Understanding the author's intent, attitude, tone, and bias is essential. Guide questions here include: what is the writer's attitude, tone, and biases? Does the writer mean what they say, or are they making their point in an indirect way through humor, satire, irony, or sarcasm? The author's purpose in writing shapes the way information is presented. Tone and attitude reveal the author's emotional stance, which can influence the reader's perception. Bias, either conscious or unconscious, can distort the presentation of information. Now, let's analyze the arguments. You may ask, does the writer write emotionally? How does a writer manipulate their own ethos? What do they tell us about themselves or lead us to believe about themselves? A strong argument will provide compelling evidence and avoid logical pitfalls. These questions evaluate the logic, evidence, and structure of the author's reasoning. Finally, critical evaluation. This is the synthesis of all the previous steps. You form your own judgment, considering the strengths and weaknesses of the text, its impact, and its relevance to your own knowledge and experiences. This is where you go beyond simply understanding the text to actively engaging with it and forming your own conclusions.